Welcome to Guangzhou.
Hey guys, so today we're in Guangzhou.
To start the day, we have changfen. It's a type of steamed rice noodle sheet with whatever filling you can imagine, all swimming in a sweetened soy sauce. So let's just dig in and see how this is, shall we? And as you can see, the filling on this is actually cha pork, which is a type of roasted Cantonese barbecue pork. Ooh, the one problem with these is that they fall apart so easily. It becomes very messy very fast if you're not careful. All the more reason to eat them faster. Remember, be sure to have a little bowl so in the event that does happen, you're covered in the bowl and not all over your pants or shirt. So, hooray, less laundry. On to the next one. This one is filled with shrimp and chives. Oh, I already lost a shrimp. No. Get in my belly, get in my belly, get in my belly. I aimed for my mouth and I missed. Take two. Ugh. If I'm honest, the shrimp suits this dish far better than the cha shao does. If you want the more traditional, suited to the dish flavor, shrimp one is gonna be what you go with. But cha shao, if done right, I think it's better.
Hey guys, me in the future editing here. Sadly, this particular cha shao changfen was not done well. It not only looked like a used diaper, but it also tasted like cat food. Oh, wait a minute. Feeding this to a cat would be animal abuse. Next!
Now next on our list is a type of rice porridge. I want to say porridge. Why did I say porridge? I think porridge plus college. Even at this point, I'm up in the Chinglish right now. Bruh. You can have this type of joe with really anything, but in this case, I got it with lettuce and pork liver. I've never had it with lettuce and pork liver before. I mean, you can get it with cha shao, you can get it with beef. That beef is a pretty common one, but pork liver, that's not a dish you see very often anymore. So let's have a go, see how it is with this more unusual topping. The pork liver in this did not come out grainy at all, and that actually makes it quite nice and quite suited for it. But remember, this is all very mild flavors. So if you're looking for something spicy, this is not it. But what it is it's fairly substantive. So what's next to enter my belly? Got these things, they're called hong mi chang. And now, I gotta tell you, when I first saw this vibrant red color, my Americanness immediately said, oh, that's gotta be food coloring. That's gotta be all manner of food coloring. But you know what? I had no idea. So you know what I had to do? I had to look it up. And what did I find? It's actually made of something called red yeast rice. It's rice, but then they take it and they ferment it. And then what they do is once it's fermented, they dry it, basically crush it into a flour and make the rice noodle in the same way that they make it for the changfen. Center of this is gonna have a thing called youtiao in it. It's a type of fried dough. Now in some cases you can put shrimp in it. Likewise, this also has the same sweetened soy sauce on here. So let's dip it in. Flavor on this is really mild. Feels like a massive source of carbs, especially without the shrimp in it. I'm used to having it with the shrimp. This is the first time I've had it with straight youtiao. When I think of youtiao, I typically think more of northern China, but down here, they turn into something completely different. And what do we wash it all down with? The restaurant, free of charge, provides black tea, which is pretty straightforward, pretty common. It's the base ingredient for any boba in the States or overseas, wherever you may be. The base ingredient is gonna be black tea, plus milk, plus whatever mix-ins you want.
Sadly, this restaurant gets a low rating. The food was mid at best, and one of the owners would not stop smoking near me. Not all restaurants are going to be winners, and I'd rather be real and show my true experience rather than just be like, OMG, everything's so awesome. Nope, not my style. Next. Next on our list, a 2,200-year-old tomb, right in the heart of downtown Guangzhou. The tomb is that of Emperor Zhao, the ruler of a short-lived local kingdom called Nanyue, that encompassed not just much of modern Guangdong and Guangxi provinces, but also much of modern Vietnam. In fact, the name itself, Vietnam, comes from the Vietnamese pronunciation of the characters Nanyue, but in reverse order.
What we have here is a replica of what would have been the outer coffin in Zhao Mo's tomb. I say replica because the original would have been made of lacquered wood. And, well, 2,000 years in the ground, the original lacquered wood has long since rotted away into dust. And funnily enough, on the description sheet here at the museum, they show these little things on the outside. According to the museum, they call them knockers. That's a particularly unfortunate name, knowing what that also means in English, but you know what, I guess I'm gonna milk some content out of this video, if you know what I mean. So I said outer coffin, because originally he would have been buried with multiple layered coffins, think like Russian nesting dolls or Egyptian pharaohs of the same time. He would have been buried in the innermost coffin, but there was an inner and an outer coffin, both of which obviously are long since gone and decayed away. But replica is here for our reference. So what we have here is the actual jade burial suit of Emperor Zhao. Now originally it would have been held together with lots of little silk fibers stretching it together. Now, historically, there were documentations of, say, tin wire, gold wire, silver wire, all hand-pulled, obviously, at the time, that would have been used to hold these suits together. Silk was never really documented as much, but this suit shows that they would have been held together with silk. It just wasn't written down very much. What we have here is the efforts of a modern attempt to put it back together, and by all looks of it, they definitely succeeded in putting it back together. But the red fabric here obviously looks like the same type of thing that you would use to, say, wrap a Christmas present. If you look closely, that's probably some polyester or some sort of synthetic. When the burial suit was found, it was basically a pile of bricks or stones. It would have been buried with a lot of other jade artifacts and other things in the tomb as well. After over 2,000 years, this is what it looked like when they first excavated it. All the fibers were long gone, and I can only imagine how much of a painstakingly intricate process it would have been for the historians in the 1980s, and how many years it would have taken just to, reassemble this suit and put it into a presentable condition for us to view here today. Why was Zhao Mo buried in a jade suit? It was believed that jade had preservative properties on the body. Now, if you zoom to your right over here, you can see exactly how much of Zhao Mo was actually preserved by the jade suit. You tell me just how effective this suit was in preserving Zhao Mo's earthly form. Is this the end of the story? No, because jade is a porous substance, which means there's thousands of tiny little holes that you can't see. When you zoom in under a microscope, make it look like Swiss cheese. Now, as the body of Zhao Mo naturally rotted away, all his flesh and other things, it's very possible that little bits of his DNA could survive inside of those stones. And in some way, he was immortalized, thus in some ways fulfilling the mission of the builders of Zhao Mo's tomb, and likely his own personal desires themselves, but in a very roundabout way. So funny how that works.
Zhao Mo had something a lot of people now pay good money for. Straight teeth with no cavities. All this 2,000 years ago, and he wasn't even trying. After a quick stop at the gift shop, which was totally 2,000 years old and absolutely was excavated with the tomb, it was time for a snack.
So I just got this thing called jiangzhuangnai, and it just came in literally as we turned the camera on. So when it came in, the guy said, wait about 2 minutes.
A few moments later.
So the owners noticed us filming, and they wanted to help us out, and they wanted to show us how the dish was made.
First, crush the ginger to extract the water from it. Strain the liquid twice to remove any residual chunks, once in a coarse sieve and then again in a finer one, because smoothness of texture is key. First add the ginger water, then hot milk. Wait 2 minutes and it jiggles like this.
Let's have a go, see how this is. Got it with red bean on top too, because, why not? I like the sweet red bean here. So let's have a go, see how the ginger adds flavor. As a change of pace, not bad at all. Not bad if you want something that's easy on the stomach, feel a little bit more clean, I like my way to put it, because, ginger can have that effect on you.
What's the most logical thing to do after having a snack? Dinner, of course.
So we've been in this area like the whole day doing different stuff, And we've passed by this restaurant a few times, and every single time there were always quite a few people going in and out or eating or doing something or lingering or just loitering or whatever at this place. So, and if there's anything I know about Chinese, massive, massive foodies. If your restaurant has bad flavor, people will not come. And Chinese, in my experience, are even less tolerant of restaurants that have bad flavor than literally any other group of people I've seen. So the fact people are always here means I have high hopes this place is going to be good. We got a mulberry leaf soup with goji berries, pidan, garlic, and a little bit of ground pork, and fish skin, chicken kidney, because you know we got to filter out all the nonsense, especially my wife when she wants to try to filter out my nonsense. It's going to help her do it. Speaking of which, fun fact about mulberry leaves: in traditional Chinese medicine, they are used to treat diabetes. We got a type of roast chicken with red onion that I really just want to dive into and, you know, just go. Anyway, some chicken with red onion and cilantro that I also want to jump into, and in many takes, you actually can see the steam coming off it. Hooray! Add some rice. By the way, I forgot to mention, this isn't just regular rice, it's actually long grain rice. And at the table, they mixed in some crushed garlic paste and scallions. So let's just start the straight rice, shall we? That's a nice sweet baseline. I need to improve my digestion tonight. It's mild, smooth, and it goes down nice. It just feels clean, you know? Just in flavor. But time for the fish skin. This fish skin is actually really nice too. Really smooth, doesn't taste like fishy at all. So it means they're using fresh stuff. Okay, on to our next thing, chicken kidney, because it's always important to filter things out. I was kind of expecting it to be kind of like liver and sometimes have a really grainy texture to it, like I'm kind of eating sand, but this doesn't have that at all. Slightly chewy. Overall, it's quite nice, but they're really good side dishes. I gotta try all the things, so let's go into this big boy right here. That's real nice, actually. I don't typically associate this flavor with Guangdong. Not spicy or anything, it just comes together good. Let's dig into the other chicken. You know, it's really, really rare for Chinese cuisine to use raw red onions. That has a really refreshing flavor to it, especially with the onions. I think so far this might be one of my best meals here in Guangzhou. Actually, you know what this flavor reminds me of? Hainanji. A lot of the overseas Chinese dishes, whether it be like, say, like Hainanji or like, say, like Niuhe, they've inspired dishes that may be more associated with Southeast Asia, because if you know anything about the history of overseas Chinese, large amounts of people went from Guangdong province to different parts of Southeast Asia over the last 200 years, and well, when they went, they set up businesses, and food stalls were common, not just food stalls, traders, that type of thing, so there was a source of ingredients. Some of these dishes became very popular and widely known in their regions. I'm tapping out. We ordered a lot of food. We were able to finish most of it. But there's no way I'm doing all this. I want to be able to stay, and I still want to be able to fit into my pants tomorrow morning. And I wore jeans. I didn't wear comfy, stretchy pants. My teeth are clogged with chicken. And while the flavor was nice, it is really mild out here. My preference is for stronger flavors. If I'm gonna have a mild flavor, Guangdong flavor is among the best of them. It's a nice aside from what I'm used to, from heavier flavors. Because sometimes even if you get heavier flavors, you want some contrast. For that purpose, this food serves it very, very well. I give it a 7.5 out of 10 by the standards of milder food.